Welcome to the Level Up podcast presented by The Ultimate Gamer, a show that features conversations with the trailblazers, thought leaders, risk takers, decision makers, celebrities, athletes, and investors who are defining the gaming and eSports space. On Level Up, we take a journey into this dynamic industry and start to decode and reveal who and what's making news. It's about connecting, and it's about sharing the stories and vision of the people who make gaming and esports a global phenomenon. As we do in every episode, we'd like to thank The Ultimate Gamer as the visionary and catalyst behind Level Up. The Ultimate Gamer is an esports and gaming, entertainment, technology, culture, and lifestyle organization with the intention of discovering the best gamer in the world. Connecting and celebrating gamers and gaming is at the core of The Ultimate Gamer's mission. And now, please welcome your host, student of the game and connector to the esports community, Tommy Knapp.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tommy Knapp, and this is an all-new episode of the Level Up podcast presented by The Ultimate Gamer. On today's show, I have a conversation with Steve Suarez, founder and CEO of The Ultimate Gamer. He also founded the top CrossFit event in the world, Water Palooza, and is CEO of Black Stage Production, an events and production company that has worked with clients such as the NFL's Super Bowl 54, Formula One, Rolling Loud, the Ultra Music Festival, and many, many more. With a raucous office in the background, Steve and I jumped right into our conversation. He talked about how his background in the South Beach nightclub industry, at a time when every celebrity and athlete partied in Miami, inspired him to create and host events that would be unforgettable. That passion for making memories and building community motivated he and his business partner to start a small CrossFit event called Water Palooza to find the fittest athlete on earth. And then from pumping iron to APM, which means actions per minute, and flick shots, Steve walks us through his vision of building the world's greatest gaming community and a competition that will crown the best gamer on earth, or what Steve has coined, the ultimate gamer. Join me now for a conversation with Steve Suarez.
Yeah, well, you got so much to talk about. So did you grow up a gamer? Or did you play Madden when you were growing up? Or
I did play Madden, Tyson Punch-Out,
I remember that game.
For sure. But I think more of my passion is just in experiences and creating really memorable experiences for people, right? So that's where this passion really drives from.
So when you were like a young kid, did you, or not, I would say young kid, but like high school, college, that kind of thing, did you throw parties?
I did. I worked the door at all the clubs on South Beach for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you work at, my wife worked at Glam Slam back in the day. Do you remember Glam Slam?
Of course I remember Glam Slam. Are you kidding me? Prince used to own a piece of it.
Yeah. She worked there. She worked at the Clevelander. And then, I came down from Syracuse and we went to Crowbar and a couple other places, but I don't know the scene nearly like she did.
That is so funny. I worked at Crowbar. I worked at Glam Slam. I worked at Liquid. I worked at Goddess. I worked at Tantra. I mean, you name it. I worked at pretty much every door on the beach for 12 years. I was like the door guy. Like people, they used to fly me around the world. I've worked doors in Ibiza. I've worked openings in Vegas. I've worked doors in New York and LA. Just everywhere.
So is that tough? Because I'm just wondering, like, you have a list basically, right? You have a list of people that you kind of let in and don't let in. Like, how does that work? Because you're a very important man to a lot of people who want to get into the club.
Yeah, well, my job was always to get people laid, right? And then it's funny because some of the owners of the club would be like, yeah, people are having a lot of fun. We're making a lot of money today, right? And keep the ratio. I'm sorry, Tommy. Yo, guys. Yo, guys. I'm on Walter Cronkite, but you guys have fucked up the whole Walter Cronkite. Now we're going to have to go back and edit the shit out of this, bro.
Walter Cronkite. Oh, shit. I love it.
All right, but we're live. We're recording.
Come on, you can edit that, no?
I guess. All right, but let me
talk to him about the guys. The guys the handicap guys. How you doing?
Yeah? What's up?
You look so good today, Tommy.
Oh, you're killing me, man.
So the No, I'm not pissed. I just want to get it over with. I'm not mad. No, and I feel like the whole first 10 minutes of this has been me screaming over you guys. And I finally realized why the fuck I was screaming. It's because you guys are fucking... Yeah, it's probably best if you guys get the hell out of here. We'll do something else. All right, hold on, man. We're going to have to start this whole fucking thing over.
Yeah, it's all right. We just edit the shit.
Yeah, by the way, we got the space for the Space Champions. We're gonna end up doing it there, man. We're building on an incredible podcast studio. We're doing some really cool stuff.
You know what's interesting about that? When it was brought up, when Eddie brought it up the other day, I didn't say anything. But when I did when David Beckham came in, not into town, but when I was working with AKQA to do a lot of their social media campaign before they came in, that was one of the spots that we went to.
So you know what it looks like.
Yeah. So yeah. I didn't jump in the other day because we were talking about the mansion and we were talking about a bunch of things. I didn't want to throw any more, oil into the water kind of thing. I just wanted to kind of hear everybody out. But yeah, that's a great space.
Yeah, and I just think, look, it's free, right? I mean, I think we're going to pay like $3,000 in food and beverage, which we would have to do anyways. Right. Some of the mansions I was looking at were $50,000, you know what I mean, for the week. So, I mean, we're saving a lot of money,
Yeah.
And plus you'd probably have power issues and you have to bring in generators and you'd have to bring in certain internet capabilities. So I think it's going to work out great. I mean, you could stay. It's just a conversation. If you want to keep working, you can, or you get the hell out of here. But it's just... No, but you guys were having full conversations. You could stay and work. Yeah, man, chill. What happened? All right, love you, bro. Thank you. All right. Hey, Junior laughs. Junior laughs.
God, that smile! I can't get enough of it. That's my guy right there.
Crushing me.
Look at my hat. Look at my new hat.
Best gamer in the world.
No, this one's best gamer. And which one does this one say?
Yeah.
The world. The world.
Yeah, I need one of those.
All right, we gotta do your thing.
Yeah.
Make some good content. Make some magic.
How do you? Hold on, let me exit real quick. The last thing I'm gonna do before we could either restart or just edit the shit out of this thing. Of course, my interview has to be the biggest disaster out of all of them. I'm quitting WhatsApp because WhatsApp keeps like ringing on my computer and it's driving me fucking nuts. All right, cool. All right, Tommy, I'm ready for you. I'm sorry, bro. These guys, I just felt like at the beginning I was just focused on having a conversation with you, and I didn't realize why the hell I was screaming so loud. I mean, these guys are here having a fucking party.
Yeah. It's like your kids in the background.
Yeah, it's like the kids in the background. And
just climbing on your lap, and yeah.
So I think you want to go back to the club scene.
Yeah, man, that's perfect because you talk about and I think that's a great start, right? You're talking about being involved in the nightclub scene, and that probably became a lot. Made you who you are as far as wanting to produce big events.
Absolutely. The night scene for me was a huge catalyst in wanting to do events, parties. I just watched so many people have such a good time at all the clubs that I worked the door at. And my job was, to make sure people had a good time. And how did I do that? Make sure tables were sold, VIP tables were sold, make sure there was way more women than men. Make sure, guys, I used to make, I laugh because back then, a typical night for me was $5,000 cash just in tips. Mm-hmm. So I would have to go and empty the pockets out in the car in the middle of the night. I'd have a security guard walk me to the car, which was parked really close by in a secure place, and I'd empty out pockets because really it was my job as the door guy to not just follow a list, which was either the promoter or owner's list, but it was really create the ambiance inside. And it was tough because you're almost judging books by its cover, which I don't really like to do as a person, right? But for me, it was all the show, right? It was almost like a Broadway play or a stage show. Every night that I walked in there, I had to become this other persona, and create that atmosphere. So it was fun. I met a lot of incredible people, had amazing times. Flew around the world because of it. Got to sit front row at New York Fashion Week. I met some of my best friends in the business and have been out for a while now, but definitely enjoyed it a lot.
So how does that work? Does a club actually hire you to come in and be their event manager, or were you hired out by a number of other clubs and you basically produced parties and events? And did you name those events?
Yeah. So no. So actually, interestingly enough, I was just the door guy, right? So I wasn't a promoter. I never created. So a lot of these clubs would hire promoters for certain nights, and you would have a group of different promoters, and they all had like little clique names, right? Whether it was, Smack Entertainment, or it was, Up All Night, or it was any of these groups of promoters. And they would go onto the hottest clubs, and one of them would have Thursday night at that club, and it was a hip hop night. The other one would have Friday night at another club, and that was, house. Another one was some sort of themed party, right? So I started by being hired by a group of friends of mine who were promoters. Okay. So I was their door guy. So when they did a party at Club 609 in Coconut Grove, which was hot for a while in Miami, I was the door guy for that night. So when they would go and do this deal with the club owner, they would say, hey, we're bringing our own door guy. And sometimes the club had their door guy that would work with me. Sometimes I would just manage the door completely. But over time, I don't want to call it my big break, but they started throwing parties at a club called Goddess in Miami, which was on Washington Avenue. And I started working the door for their nights. And there I met, which he's a character, and he's actually has become incredibly famous and very successful. And I'm proud of him. And he's one of my best friends. It's Dave Grubnic. Dave Grubnic, who now owns Groot Hospitality, part owner of Live nightclub, which is the #1 grossing nightclub in the world at the Fountain Blue in Miami. He owns a bunch of restaurants, partners with Pharrell and all that. Dave was the manager of Goddess nightclub. He was literally the GM. So I worked one night with my group of promoters at Goddess, met Dave, who happened to be the GM, and Dave asked me to work for him at Goddess at the nightclub. So I did that. So I started when I was just working, I was working Fridays and Saturday nights for this promoter group. I now started working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Dave at Goddess. Okay. And then the crown jewel, and it's funny, of door guys, of door jobs in Miami, believe it or not, was not at any of the really, really big, the glam slams like we were talking about, or the liquids or the crowbars. Actually, the crown jewel was a little club on Pennsylvania and 14th that was called Tantra.
Yeah, I know Tantra.
Tantra Monday nights was probably, and I think arguably to this date, the best party that ever went on in Miami Beach. And it was that way because Monday nights were industry night. Every other club is closed, right? Tourists are kind of gone, you know what I mean? And whatever tourists are left would go. So anybody that was in Miami at the time on a Monday night went to Tantra. I mean, I've had Michael Jackson walk through my door. I mean, you name it. I've had every single basketball player, athlete, celebrity walk through the doors of Tantra Monday night. Right. And I was the guy who had been there for like 5 years, and he was, I forget his name now, shit, it's been so long, but he left. So that opening came up, and the owner of Tantra happened to be the same owner of Goddess. Okay. So they own Tim and Irina, which are an interesting couple. She's a Russian model, and he was a dentist here in Miami. He still is alive. They're both still alive, so I shouldn't say he was a dentist. Right. I don't know if he's practicing.
Right, maybe he retired.
Who knows? But Tim and Irina own Goddess and Tantra, and they asked at about the same time that this door guy left, they asked Dave to then manage both Goddess and Tantra for him. Okay. And that's when Dave started kind of getting this marketing. Do you know who Dave Grubman is? Or?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't met, but I know when I was with the Marlins, Derek Jeter was talking to him about doing some stuff with the Marlins. Yeah. And Tantra was one of the first restaurants that I came to when I came down from Syracuse, and I walked in, and I believe when you walk through the door, it's a grass floor,
grass
right?
On the floor.
Which was really crazy. It always kind of like threw you off. And I thought that I heard Cameron Diaz was a partner in that. Is that wrong?
No, that's wrong. She wasn't. Okay. She went to the club often.
Okay.
But it was just like the sexiest, hottest party, in my opinion, ever. Monday nights at Tantra. The last I checked, it was still going on, by the way. I don't know now. Last I checked was probably 2 years ago, but like that Monday night party is still going on because it was the only show in town. Right. And it was very hard to get in. And I continued that legacy of making it the hardest door to get into, I think. And I probably made it even harder to get into. And then when Dave came in, and as he managed and he started growing his reputation as kind of a marketing and nightlife guru, he started getting even closer to all these celebrities and these brands. And we started having some incredible branded parties there, and the celebrity aspect to it, right? So you started seeing the Paris Hiltons of the world, the Kardashians, the Puff Daddies, LeBron. I remember LeBron James, Justin Timberlake. I mean, you name it, they came through. And that's, I think, when I really working with side by side with Dave, although I was just the door guy and I wasn't the promoter, how I saw kind of that creating just memorable experiences, and his job and my job at that point was in the nightlife, right? And just making sure that people, when they left there, they had the best night of their life, right? And that was just our goal, and we were obsessive about it. We were passionate about it. We were, it was our goal every night to just really create this incredible. We wanted people to say that was the best night of my fucking life, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we did, man. I think that's when it kind of started growing, that kind of itch to just watch people have a good time. Like, I no longer drink, I don't party anymore. And it's been, 14 years for me, but I still find myself, whether people are coming over at my house and I'm a host at my house, or I go somewhere else, or we travel, I'm the guy still like, hey guys, here, have a drink. Let's go. Let's have a good time. Let's party,
Yeah,
so
man.
Even though I'm not partying.
What's funny is when you say doorman, that's one of those. It doesn't sound like a glamorous title, right? Doorman.
Absolutely. People think it's like a security guard, right? Like it's a security,
right? But
it wasn't. I always had two huge security guards protecting me.
Right. And I mean, you're being involved in some of the coolest, like you said, sexiest, most incredible events and parties ever. So it's just one of those, it's amazing, like, to me, that title is never changed. It's always just the door guy, the doorman. Everybody wants to know who that person is.
Oh man. Listen, I always tell, I talk to my wife and she's like, do you have any regrets in life? And I always kind of like, no, I don't believe in that. Looking back and having regrets, because things happen for a reason. But one of the things I kind of wish I would have done is gone away to college. But then I think if I would have gone away to college, I wouldn't have had these experiences at the door, right? Where I'm being flown, to Ibiza, to work parties, Vegas, New York, LA, sitting front row, at all these fashion shows, and, so many great friends that I have now that are huge influencers and stuff. I met there just partying with them, and having a great time. And, it was just such an awesome experience, and everybody wanted to know. It was funny. I was laughing with somebody yesterday because now we're living in the COVID-19 age, and you're like, well, what do you do? Because I'm Hispanic, so I typically hug people or kiss women when I see them, give them a kiss on the cheek, hug people, And now it's like, what do? You fist pump, elbow, you kind of stay away. And I was laughing with him because I said when I worked the door, I gave double kisses. I thought I was European because you have all these influx of Europeans in Miami, and all of a sudden you're double kissing everybody, So that's all out the door. But for sure, everybody wanted to know the door guy, and it was an incredible experience for sure.
Yeah, man. And dude, by the way, when you talk about like going to college, I think one of the things when you go to college is that's the experience you want, right? You half the joy of going to college is partying and having a great time, right? And then you're getting an education, but sometimes that education is all theoretical, whereas you actually got an education which was real world, and you're applying it obviously every day. So an interesting transition though is, when did you decide to leave the kind of that side of it, as far as and you're still doing the marketing side and the promoting side to a certain degree now, obviously, but you got behind the scenes when you built Black Stage Productions.
Yeah, well, so my story is a little bit it's not that interesting, but it takes a turn where I kind of left all of that completely for a while. So I was about 26, 28 years old when I met my wife now. Actually, she killed me. I was 25 years old. Okay. We've been together for 15 years. So I was 26. I was 26 years old when I met my wife. We were introduced by mutual friends, and they brought her to the club, and I fell in love right away, and the whole love story, right? And she was living in Orlando. My wife has her doctorates in speech pathology. She has an incredible practice now. I'm so proud of her. But she was living in Orlando. She was about to graduate with her doctorate's degree, and she was like in between, do I leave Miami? Do I stay? She ended up moving. I mean, do I leave Orlando or do I stay in Orlando? And she ended up moving to Miami, and And, you know, we moved in almost a month after she moved down to Miami. We moved in together. She moved into my apartment. And man, I was partying a lot. As you can imagine, being a door guy, you're partying hard. You're partying a lot. My hours were backwards, right? I'd get to work at 10 o'clock at night, get home at 7 in the morning. Yeah. Typically not in the best of conditions, right? Right. We want to keep this as G as possible, but typically not in the best of conditions. So I put her through a lot. And it got to a point, kind of a crossroad in my life, that although I was having a blast and making a lot of money, I kind of had to choose, you know, it's not a sustainable lifestyle to have a relationship. It really isn't a sustainable lifestyle to have a meaningful relationship, right? So I decided I chose my wife. I chose who became my wife later on over kind of that business and that profession. And I left it. And I just literally one day, I looked at her and we were going through our stuff. And I said, you know what, the only way this is going to work is if I leave, you know, and I quit. I quit that day. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. And my friend, who is my best friend today, owns MRI centers and diagnostic centers. And he brought me on to be the marketing director for his MRI centers. Okay. So when you're marketing kind of the medical business, you're going to the offices and you're meeting the girls in the front, and you just have to have a good personality, kind of work your way in through the door and get the doctor. Sometimes the doctors didn't care where the MRIs went. Sometimes they did, but you just did your sales piece, right? And I did that for a while, and it was awful. It was awful. It was an awful job. I hated it. I was miserable. And then while I was doing that, my cousin, who had just graduated from law school, who's like my brother, basically, he was working in-house at a real estate investment firm and doing title work for them. But we, again, remember, because of the door, we knew everybody in town. You know, we knew the world. We knew everybody. We knew every banker, every mortgage broker, every real estate agent, everybody, you know, we just knew everybody. So him and I ended up opening up a title company. And I did that for about 8 years, man. We did this title company. He ended up running for commissioner of the city of Miami. He's currently the mayor of Miami. And once we sold to a law firm, he left and just kind of concentrated full time on being commissioner. And during that time, I got really into fitness. It was like 6 years into our title company, I got into fitness, and I had always been an active person and played sports in high school and stuff. But obviously when I was partying and stuff, I wasn't taking that great care of myself. I got really into fitness and fell in love with CrossFit. And I started going to a gym, and I started coaching. The guy who was the owner of the gym happened to be a friend for a very long time. And I even started coaching. He was starting his CrossFit business. CrossFit was just starting. Like literally, this was 11 years ago, and nobody even knew what it was. And he was starting his business, and he was struggling. So I even started coaching classes for him for free. I never charged a penny. I never got paid. And fell in love with CrossFit and just started doing it. And so all my circle of friends and stuff started knowing, hey, Steve does CrossFit. He's getting fit. This is cool and whatever. And because of our political connections, I was approached by the director of Bayfront Park. And Bayfront Park, for those that don't know, and I'm not sure if you know, it's our Central Park. It's way smaller than Central Park, but it's an incredible park in the heart of downtown Miami on the water. You know, and that's where they hold the Miami Marathon. They hold Ultra Music Festival. There's major things happen, right?
I think everything for the Super Bowl was just held down there, or a lot of it, right?
The Super Bowl was just held down there. Yeah. So we started. We again, I'm coming from the nightlife business, the title company business, and you know, this guy says, "Hey, I know you're doing CrossFit. I want to do free CrossFit classes here at the park." And I'm like, "Listen, dude, I'm busy. Like, I'm gonna introduce you to my buddy who owns this CrossFit gym, and you guys do this deal. And you know, I don't want anything from it. Have fun. You know, I'll go to the meeting and introduce you." So we set a meeting, and I go to Bayfront Park with my buddy who owned the gym. And they were talking about where they're going to store the equipment and how they're going to promote to all these buildings around downtown, because they do free yoga in the park already. And then, you know, towards the end of the conversation, he looks at us and he's like, "You know what we like here? We really, really like big events, like Ultra Music Festival, right? Like the Miami Marathon, like the corporate run, like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And him and I just looked at each other, and it was like one of those light bulb, moments, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, why don't we try to do a CrossFit competition here? Let's do a CrossFit competition at Bayfront Park. How cool would that be? We have the water, we have this stage here, we all that. And that was in September of 2000. And in January of 2001, we did our first Water Palooza on Martin Luther King weekend.
Okay.
And we named it Water Palooza. And we had, I'll never forget it. I had never done an event, by the way. My experience with creating cool experiences was the nightclub, right? Which I wasn't even a promoter. I was more a door guy. Never done a party, like never done anything, right? And we that first year, man, we didn't. The park was wide open to the public. It was free to come in. There's homeless people like sleeping next to where we're working out. You know what I mean? We brought in like these 2 roll-in bleachers, right? That you just kind of roll in. They bring in a truck. The city brings it in a truck, and they pop up, and the bleachers are crooked. You know what I mean? There's 2 of them. Yeah. Barricades, like very few banners. We had no money. We didn't get investors. We like each put in like $1,000. I remember my biggest sponsor at the time was a company called Footworks, and they paid us $800. I thought we had hit the lotto. I was like, this is wow. Yeah. This is incredible. Somebody's actually paying us $800 to be
cash, right?
You know, and I put tents, and I had my friends like they're selling like stuff that we had bought online to make it look like we had more sponsors than we had. You know, I remember that the lighting guy that we had, I promised me lasers, and I'm like, hit the lasers, dude, in the middle of the night, and it's like he had like a pen laser, wang, wang, wang. It was awful. I emceed. My buddy emceed, and it was wild, man. But you know what? People had a great time because we were just so passionate about what we were doing and so obsessed with creating a great experience for everybody. We had 400 athletes, that registered to compete. And we're like, wow. And at the end of the whole weekend, the feedback was incredible. We loved it. It was awesome. We're like, oh man, maybe next year we can close the park down, put a fence around, and actually charge people to come in, So Water Palooza went growing, and just a fire was ignited within me for event production, creating these live experiences and these experiences for people. And it just really became my passion. Like I was like, okay, when you're a kid, and I always struggle with it. I was no longer a kid, right? I was 31 years old. I mean, depends who you're talking to, whether you're a kid or not at 31 years old.
Right,
I was 31 years old. And I had never found really what my passion and my calling was. And I kind of always struggled with that. I was always just like happy as shit. I'm not saying I was depressed or anything. I was happy, but I was kind of just like doing whatever I could do. I had a title company that we made very good money with, and I'm very grateful for. And it bought me my first home and investment homes, and we made money, but I was just kind of existing in the world. And I wasn't passionate. I wouldn't wake up excited to do stuff, And then this event stuff just really, ignited a fire in me. And I was like, shit, this is it, man. Like, this is what gets me excited. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So as we built out Water Palooza, I continued with the title company, eventually sold the title company, and just concentrated on this one event a year, which was Water Palooza. And it became the largest CrossFit competition in the world. I mean, we closed the park down. Our builds for Water Palooza were 2.5 weeks to build this entire city within a park. This park, and I don't think people realize when you're not in the event business, you kind of show up to the place and you're like, wow, this is cool. But the work that goes behind creating that experience, right? There's no power in the park. We had to bring in internet, power, bathrooms, plumbing, a fence, every stage, bleacher, tent, everything, right? And then there's just this huge logistics behind it. And I really loved the logistical side, the production side, and the business side. So my role in Ultimate Gamer was to produce the entire show.
No, it's Water Palooza.
Water Palooza. I'm sorry for Water Palooza. So Ultimate Gamer. So my role in in Water Palooza was to produce. I did all production from A to Z. I handled every single aspect of production, from permitting to drawings to the vendors and everything. And then all the sponsorship partnerships and business relationships, right? So whether that was our streaming deals that we had, all of our partners, all of our major partnerships, sponsors, we used to get 140 vendors come in and set up shop there to be part of a Water Palooza weekend.
And this started 2010, right? Around 2010?
2010.
And then so like every year it got
2011. Every
okay.
year it went getting
bigger.
and bigger. And about year 4, we really, you know, everybody talks about the tipping point. I think year 4 was the tipping point when we went from, we were big, people were talking about us, to, you know, if you go to a CrossFit gym anywhere in the world, I promise you that 9 out of 10 CrossFit gyms have a Water Palooza poster inside of it. Right. I mean, I was skiing the other day in Snowmass in Colorado this winter with my family. We go every year, and on top of the freaking mountain at a restaurant, there's a Water Palooza poster.
You never told me, where did the name come from?
So the name, I got to give my former partner credit. He came up with the name WOD. So CrossFitters are kind of a weird group, right? And they're not, and I don't mean that as an insult. They're just they're you could tell a CrossFitter. You know who's a CrossFitter, right?
They're into
that
fitness,
guy's a CrossFitter. That girl's a CrossFitter, right? And they kind of have their own language too. It's kind of all they talk about, and they have their own language. And WOD is workout of the day.
Okay.
So that's what WOD stands for. So whenever you go into a CrossFit, what's the WOD? Hey, what's the WOD? What WOD did you do today? You know, what WOD are you going to do? And that means workout of the day. So basically, what workout are you doing? So he came up with the name Water Palooza because Palooza has always been kind of associated with big festivals. So you have Lollapalooza, you have all these big festivals. So it was a festival of WODs. So it was Water Palooza. And that's how we came up with Water Palooza. And to be honest with you, neither him or I were fully in love with the name, but it kind of grew on us over time. And, you know, it was awesome. And people loved it. I'm sorry.
No worries.
We're going to have to edit this, garage. No idea. I'm sorry. My wife was saying.
Yeah, no worries. I just don't want to ask you any questions while you're typing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, and I was trying to avoid it, but I kept seeing my wife's name pop up, so I didn't know if something had happened. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So Water Palooza comes from, it was a festival of WODs, and really truly what we created and why our event was so special, right? Because there's the CrossFit Games, and the CrossFit Games has a season where they have the Worldwide Online Open, you know, and then they go into the regionals, and then they have the World Championships, and that's kind of the mecca of CrossFit, right? And they crown the fittest person on earth, give away $250,000, and But you would ask the athletes and you would ask the spectators, and they loved our event more than that, because that was more like business. Like, you went to the CrossFit Games, you go there and you're going to go watch some crazy competition. It's cool, but that's what that was, right? That was the Super Bowl. Like, that was boom. But Water Palooza was what we managed to do and you know, and create was a community. And I think we did an amazing job, and I'm so proud of the community that we built. And it was about the 99%, right? We didn't cater to the elite athletes. The elite athletes were important to kind of validate our competition. So the fact that they were there was cool. The fact that they bought in and said, "Hey, this is awesome," was cool. But we treated the 13-year-old kid that qualified for the 13-year-old division, right, just the same as we did the fittest person on earth, right? Yeah. We gave them, there wasn't separate areas for the elite athletes or for the scaled athletes or for the weekend warrior 48-year-old that loves CrossFit, right? Like, it was all treated the same. And it was Miami in January. So everybody wants to be in Miami in January. Yeah. You know, it's sexy. You got everybody's half naked running around, right? Beautiful people that are fit. We had our vendors. We had an educational piece, which was very important. Which you have such a big influence on us and Ultimate Gamer on that. And we had we had a party. We had DJs. You
know what it makes me sound like? It sounds to me like kind of when they talk about the Olympics. Obviously, these are the best athletes in the world, but a lot of the Olympians, from the stories I've heard anyway, they talk about the village is really what they remember. Right?
Exactly.
Going back to the village and hanging out with all those athletes in the community, with all these amazing athletes from all over the world. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Dude, you're going when you're in CrossFit, right? Like, whatever thing it is that you're into, whether it's CrossFit or music track and field, whatever that is, typically you have someone you look up to that made you want to be or do this, whatever it is you're doing, right? And there's only less than 1% of people make it to that level where they're, the top of that. So imagine let's just use basketball as an analogy. You love basketball and you're a high school basketball player. You're passionate about it. You're playing every day. And you get to go and play on the same court with LeBron James, right? You're not going to be playing in the same game as him because he's playing against Carmelo and James Harden, and he's playing with Dwayne Wade. But you're going to go on that same exact court that he just played on. You're going to do the exact same competition and game that he did. So you compare yourself to him, right? And you're going to go to the back, and guess what? He's in the locker room, and he's eating at the same restaurant, at the same food hall as you. And he's warming up in the same areas, and you get to sit there and talk. And the CrossFit community is very cool. They're very cool. They're very down to earth. So these big athletes, the top guys in the game, were cool, and they'd be in the warm up area and they'd hang out with the guy who had just started doing CrossFit, and they're teaching them. They're in the warm up area, And we had a serious competition going on. We gave away $500,000. Right. So there's a serious competition going on, and they walk around the village and they're cool and they take pictures. So I'm really proud of that. But what we were talking about is how we got to kind of where we are today in that passion, right, and where that comes from.
The transition.
And I 2 years ago I sold Water Palooza, right? And before we lead into kind of Ultimate Gamer and what that's about, I think it's relevant for those that are listening that don't know what CrossFit is, right? Or what they claim to do is they claim to find the fittest person on earth, and literally their trademark is fittest on earth. And the way they find and why they claim to find the fittest person on earth is that they put every athlete that's willing to sign up for their online open. Right? They put them through a 5-week online open. Then the top athletes in each region move on to regionals. And then they have the world championship. And then they test these athletes. Not only do they put them through that gauntlet, they test them through different genres of fitness. So in CrossFit, you do weightlifting, you do endurance, you do gymnastics, right? You balance, you do others, you swim, you ride bike, right? You row. So they put you through this gauntlet of physical activity, and they say, hey, if overall, over this gauntlet of activities and over all these events, you have the highest score, you are the fittest person on earth. So when I sold Water Palooza 2 years ago, I went on to the company that bought Water Palooza. I went on and I became the president of their sporting division, right? But within being in that sporting division, the company was small at the time. I also ran basically every single one of their events. So I put together for the first time, again, remember my experience in events was Water Palooza. That was my experience in events. My extent to my experience in events was Water Palooza. And by the way, to this day, you talk to the director of Bayfront Park, it's probably one of the most complex builds. We used to spend $5 million building out Water Palooza every year. Wow. Like that's what a complex build it was. Like we built a city within a park. All the infrastructure that comes with that. And I managed all of that. And then I go on to this company who buys Water Palooza. So I'm running Water Palooza now for this company, but then they start expanding and doing concerts. So I brought back country music to Miami, and we did the first country music concert in the history of Miami in like 30 years at the Miami Marine Stadium. And, we had 30,000 people there, and I produced that from A to Z, kind of learning on the fly. I never thrown a concert, so from the staging, everything, kind of what I had done at Water Palooza, but in concert. We started doing concert tours around the world, and I managed those. We started doing activations for brands like Walmart, and I managed all those activations. We activated at 1,000 Walmarts in one day. In the same day, we activated at 1,000 Walmarts. I didn't even know there was 1,000 Walmarts existed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But there's actually more than that. But we activated 1,000 Walmarts in one day. We had this huge war room, and we had brand ambassadors at every Walmart, and we had the system, and where they had to check in with us. And I created all of that. And so why I say that is because my passion for experience and events continued growing, especially on the production side. So 2 years, about a year and a half of being into that company, about a year of being into that company, I didn't see eye to eye with the owners of it. And the way they wanted to do things kind of on the cheap and kind of like not provide that experience, just more like herd them in and cattle and send them out. And I don't believe that creates lasting experiences for people and that it was sustainable. So I left and I created my own production company, and that's called Black Stage Productions.
Yep.
And Black Stage became kind of my baby, and I'm so proud of what we've accomplished at Black Stage. I mean, we're producing hundreds of events a year. We've been around for a year and a half, and we do events like the Miami Marathon. We produce events for, we produce parts of massive festivals like Ultra, like Rolling Loud. We do the Formula One fan experiences. We worked with brands like Verizon, Best Buy, Emirates Airlines, you name it. Just recently in Miami, we were talking about it earlier, we were the preferred production company for the Super Bowl host committee. Mm-hmm. So we did everything at Bayfront Park. We did everything at the American Airlines Arena for EA and Nike.
Now, I'm assuming, Steve, you must have leaned on like a lot of the relationships that you built over the years. If Black Stage is only, did you say Black Stage is only like 2 years old, or yes, less
Black
than?
Black Stage turned 2 years this May.
So 2 years old, and with that client, that list of clients, I mean, that doesn't happen overnight. So even though the company's only 2 years old, you've got relationships that feed back many years.
Absolutely. I think that's that, and then just the track record, right? Like Water Palooza was such an outstanding event and produced at such a high level that I think, I used to have production guys from around the world come to Water Palooza and be like, you're fucking crazy. And these guys are guys that travel around the world producing some of the biggest shows in the world. And they'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is insane, So I think that track record, obviously our local relationships help. Let's not be fooled, right? Like we know a lot of people, and a lot of people, to be honest with you, everybody knows lawyers. Everybody has a lawyer friend. Everybody has a doctor friend, right? Everybody has an accountant friend, but not a lot of people have production friends, right? So now with all the relationships and all the people we know, now whenever anybody thinks of production, yeah, they worked with a production company before or whatever, but they didn't have a personal relationship with them. Now it's like, oh shit, Steve does production. Let's do this with Steve. But man, Black Stage has been so much fun. We've learned so much. We've made so many mistakes. I remember one of the first stages we built, the client calls me and goes, you guys are still here. Like, it's a stage that takes 5 hours to build. We're now on a day and a half. Wow. Still trying to figure this shit out, right? And it's like, wow. But look, we got it done. We no longer do that. Now we build stages that take 5 hours and 3 hours, right? We have an incredible team. And so we went through our bumps and our bruises and our learning. And we've learned a lot. But I mean, we've done stuff with Michael Jordan and the Jordan brand. It's taken us all over the world. And it's been incredible, it's been truly incredible. And aside from Black Stage, we also, we have a passion for events, right? Which is why we have Black Stage in production, but we also like to own our own intellectual properties and events. So we have gone out in the last 2 years and I acquired or created 13 different events.
Okay.
So we own the San Augustine Half Marathon. We own an entrepreneurship conference, which is massive in Latin America and is going to make its first appearance in the United States, called EXMA. So just recently, we had President Obama in Bogota, Colombia, speaking at this conference. Richard Branson is the keynote speaker at our conference here in the States, with over 180 speakers and leaders in the business community. So we own that. We started a soccer cup called the Magic City Cup, and we started a big soccer tournament with a partner. We did a haunted house this year, which was really fun and cool, and we learned a lot from it. We did a holiday village. So we own.
Are these all coming out of your brain, or are they like shared experience? And they're like, we can take this. Somebody comes to you with an idea. They say a haunted house. You're like, you know what? Let's not just talk about this. Hey, let's go do this.
Let's go do it. So it's a combination of both. There's about 5 of them we've created from scratch, and they were our ideas.
Right.
And then some of them we've purchased, and some of them the people have come to us and been like, hey, we're looking for a partner. To activate this in the United States, you want to partner with us. So we've gotten equity into the company. We own it now, and we produce it, and we run certain aspects of the business for sure.
So you said earlier, you were talking about you and your partner in Water Palooza and the gentleman that you're talking to in the park, and then you looked at each other and it was like that light bulb went off. With some of these, has that happened? And has it happened specifically with Ultimate Gamer? Or did you say, you know what, I see the gaming space, I got to think of something? Or did something, you saw something, and it was just like, bang, it just clicked?
So that's a great question. So and I failed to mention that when I exited the company that I was working at that bought Water Palooza, I had a good friend of mine, Jared Nixon, who lives in LA, and he's just very well connected. He's Damon John's best friend. He ran Shark Group for Damon John for a long time. Had been telling me for about a year and a half, hey, dude, you got to check out eSports and e-gaming. It's huge. Like, and he knew I was in the entertainment and production space. You got to get into this. And I actually presented an opportunity to my partners at the time that had bought Water Palooza to get into gaming and esports, and they completely were too naive or ignorant to even entertain it, right? So they completely dismissed it, and I kept it. It was kind of the way Jared spoke about it, and I know how passionate he is and stuff. I was like, man, there's something here, right? So as soon as I exited, I left that company. I invested in a gaming arena, an e-gaming arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga, Tennessee, people are like, why the hell would you do Chattanooga, Tennessee? Chattanooga, Tennessee is, first of all, one of the coolest little towns I've ever been to. I compare it to Austin, Texas, but like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, right? It's growing, huge tech community, artistic community. But more importantly, by the way, it was voted the #1 outdoor city in the United States like 5 years in a row. Wow. It's a really, really, really cool town. A lot of money there. Pepsi bottling started there. There's a lot of big companies there. And but most importantly, it has the fastest internet in the United States. So in the world, actually, and it's 10 gigabytes. So right now, when you're hearing 1 gigabyte is a big deal, right? You get 1 gigabyte, you're like, holy shit, what am I going to do with 1 gigabyte? Well, they have 10 gigabytes in Chattanooga, right? So we're able to do things in our arena that are very unique. For instance, we did an event, 10 Gig Festival, and we did 1,000 individual live streams from one place on Twitch. And to this date, nobody's ever been able to do that on Twitch. Wow. 1,000 individual live streams from the same location. So I invested with that. What's cool about that is my partners there are Damon John, Ken Griffey Jr., Gary V, and myself and Jared. So I always gamed when I was younger. I gamed. I played, Mike Tyson Punch Out. I played Madden Bowl. I played Mario Brothers, and I played all those games. And then I turned to sports and all that. But when I invested in this arena, I said, I need to learn a lot more about what's happening in this community. Like, let me get cool with it, right? I'm getting old. Let me get cool with the gaming community. And as I started doing my research and really talking to people and started doing kind of the circuit of all of these big events and big conferences, the PAX, the Dream Hacks, and as I started doing all this tour, I quickly realized, and something that struck me, and obviously I'm coming from Water Palooza, I'm like, man, this community is amazing. I fucking love this community. They're passionate. They're all in on gaming. And I love that, man. And you see the passion. And right when you see that, you're like, dude, this is incredible. This is incredible. Like, I had never seen it. I thought CrossFit had the passion, right? And that was the fitness community that had the most passion I had seen out of all the communities. And then when I started seeing this gaming community and how passionate they were, I was like, holy shit, man, this is awesome. Yeah. However, I was like, man, what's weird, not weird, but what's a reality within this community is that it's very siloed. Like, this community to me seems very, very siloed. You play Fortnite, you're a Fortnite player, right? You belong to the World of Warcraft community, or you're a PC player, or you're a console player, or you're a first-person shooter player, or you're into mobile. And then everything you see, which is awesome, by the way, on TV and streaming, and everybody's kind of focused on this professional player and these professional teams and these Overwatch teams. I have incredible friends at Comcast. Some of the top guys at Comcast are personal friends. And they're building a $50 million arena for their Overwatch team, for the Philadelphia Fusion, and I've toured and I've been there for the groundbreaking. excuse me. And I'm just like, man, it's such a passionate community, massive community, but they're siloed, man. And there's such a unique opportunity to bring them all together for one cause, which is let's celebrate gaming. No matter what you do, no matter what you're into, let's come together and celebrate gaming, right? All things gaming, right? We're all passionate about gaming. And what better way to do that than finding the best gamer in the world, right? So, you know, full circle, CrossFit, fittest athlete in the world, you know, fittest person on earth. Now you have gaming. Nobody in gaming is finding the best gamer in the world. I don't know if you'd agree with me on that or not, but
no, I think I mean, anything like that is totally title specific, right? It's kind of like you were saying. Absolutely. I mean, somebody, when you talk about CrossFit, somebody could be the strongest person, but also, are you also the most agile? Are you the most limber? Are you the most, you have the most balance? So there's nothing that exists like it, and it's a fascinating property. And that's why I was wondering, like, if it was a progression for you, if it was actually a light bulb, and it's still evolving to this day, right? But
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely a light bulb moment. It was absolutely, as I was looking, and the more I went and I did the circuit of all these conferences and I talked to people, I was like, man, nobody is finding the best gamer on earth. It just doesn't exist. And we had an interesting write-up in Gamer Magazine the other day where the journalist and the author that wrote it, you know, he did a very good job of outlining that. They're like, hey, a lot of people make a claim to find the best game in the world, right? Because you are the best at Fortnite, or you're the best at, you know, at Dota 2, or you're the best FIFA player, or you're the best at whatever. But we are now the only company that could actually even say it, right? Because we own the trademarks to the best gamer on earth, best gamer on the planet, best gamer in the world, and best gamer in the universe, which we're calling that person the ultimate gamer. And the way we're going to do that is by testing the gamers through all the different genres of gaming, right? And nobody's done that. And the more I speak to gamers and the more I talk to them, they play different games, right? Like, obviously you have some of your professionals that are solely focused on, you know, every day of their life, they're playing CSGO, right? Because they're on a professional CSGO team. Or every day of their life, they're playing Overwatch because they're on an Overwatch team. But the majority of gamers dabble and play different games.
Yeah, man, my 14-year-old Zane, he plays, I mean, it was Fortnite originally, and then he would jump into Minecraft, and then he kind of outgrew Minecraft, but then he went back to Minecraft, and now he plays Apex Legends, and he jumps into NBA 2K, and then he gets like on a Madden kick where they're building out their team in Madden. Dude, they love it, and I love it too, man, because like you're saying, it's become less one-dimensional, and it's like all of these different opportunities.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what it is. And what we're doing at Ultimate Gamer is we're trying to create the largest online gaming community in the world. And I truly believe we can do it. There's no barrier to entry. It's absolutely free. You couldn't give us a credit card if you wanted to when you register. Like, you sign up, you pick what you want to play, whether you play PC or console. Right? You pick what genre you want to get into at the beginning, right? So the worldwide challenge is based on genre. You don't have to play all of them initially to qualify for phase 2. So if you are a sports player, sign up for sports. If you want to try out first-person shooters, try out for first-person shooter. If you're a mobile player, if you're a fighting player, or if you're a battle royale player, you could sign up for all 4 genres, 5 genres, right? and try your luck. And what's really cool about it, in my opinion, is the community aspect, right? Because at the end of the day, our mission is to celebrate gaming, and we're doing that through competition. Every gamer in the world, including myself, we're competitive by nature. If you're a gamer, you're competitive. I don't care what anybody tells me, right? I'm not competitive. When you get on your mobile phone and you play Candy Crush, for a little guy, you're trying to get the highest score possible. You know,
it's a game, man. That's just so funny when you say that, because it's like, it's when people sit down and play a board game, you know, or they play anything like that. It's like, you know, my kids right now, there's this terminology, right? Try hard. He's a try hard. And like, why is he try hard? Well, because he's trying too hard to win. Yeah, but that's the point of the game right now. You're playing. You know, it just cracks me up. Well, anybody that tries too hard, usually those are the people that are winning a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I love that. Try hard. I like he's a try hard.
Yeah.
I love that. But listen, it's and look, the reality is that there's only going to be one Ultimate Gamer, right? But why do you join the Ultimate Gamer community? Because you want to be part of a bigger community, right? You're going to be able to create your own custom leaderboards, which we found in Water Palooza to be such a cool piece, man. It sounds silly. It sounds so silly, but now I could go on and I could create a custom leaderboard between my coworkers, between my classmates, in my family, right? Like I create my own custom leaderboard. Now you're talking shit to each other. Now you're chatting. Now you're, yeah, I bet I'm gonna beat you in a first-person shooter game or in Fortnite, and you could see where you rank just amongst your friends, and it just builds such cool.
Well, yeah, man. That's the other thing that's so cool about leaderboards too, is right. Like you might not be able to beat whoever's first or even whoever's number 100 or 1,000, but I might be able to beat you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? And even if you can't beat anybody, the point and the way we've which I'm not at liberty to disclose them because, you know, nobody's going to, they're not going to find out until we announce it. The first challenge, but the way the challenges have been built, in phase 1, is that the most novice player, my 9-year-old, will be able to complete the challenge, right? Now, how many kills he gets is not going to be as many as Ninja gets in Fortnite, right? But he'll be able to compare himself to the top players in the world, right? He'll be, hey, I got 3 kills. He had 38. That's incredible. You know what I mean? So I always go back to Water Palooza because in CrossFit, what was cool about it was that the workouts were all the same. They were just scaled to your ability. Mm-hmm. So you knew that the fittest person on earth did 800 pull-ups in 3 minutes. You only did 30. Right. But that was great. Now you got to compare yourself. So I think what's really cool about the Ultimate Gamer is that you're going to be able to compare yourselves with the best players in the world. Obviously, you're going to have your custom leaderboards. And to your point, you may not be the Ultimate Gamer, but you're going to be the best guy in your house, right? Or the best guy in your state or in your city or in your school. And you're also still going to be able to relate to the top players in the world because a lot of this stuff is not relatable, right? A lot of the stuff you see in sports on a day-to-day basis. Listen, gymnastics is an incredible sport, but I can't relate to Simone Biles. I can't do any of that stuff. Are you crazy? I'd end up in the hospital. You know what I mean? LeBron, yeah, I could play basketball, right? And that's relatable, right? So there are some sports that are relatable, but a lot of stuff is just like, it's so out there and these guys are just so good that you can't relate. Like now you in gaming, it's an even field. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman. You know, it's a relatable sport where you can all connect through gaming and really celebrate this sport and this and just if you're passionate about it, man, just come be part of Ultimate Gamer and it'll be a great fun.
So when do the qualifiers start? And you can do it. It's anywhere in the globe. You can log on and play. And
absolutely
right. But so now you're trying to find the top. How do the regions break out?
So we're not doing regionals year 1.
Okay.
Because we're just starting off. We're going to do it in phases. So we're going to do phase 1, which is the worldwide challenge. Anybody anywhere in the world 9 years or above could sign up, register, and compete in 1 or 5 different genres, right? So you can sign up for all 5, sign up for 2, sign up for whatever. We're going to release challenges starting September 1st. We release a challenge. The live releases are so much fun and so cool. And we'll have an influencer or a celebrity announcing the challenge and completing the challenge. They're live. Mm-hmm. So they will almost set the benchmark for the world as far as score is concerned. Doesn't mean they can't do it again and get a higher score, but they will set the score, right? Basically the benchmark. And then you have basically from Wednesday night all the way to Sunday night to submit your score, right? Or to complete the challenge, and your highest score will be the one that counts. So you can try it several times, right? Once we have that 4-week online challenge, we move on to phase 2. So the top 1,000 in each genre, in both PC and top 4,000 gamers in PC, top 4,000 gamers in console will move on to phase 2. So 1,000 in each genre, top 1,000 sports players, first-person shooter, battle royale, and fighting games. Yep, they will move on to phase 2 in PC. Same thing as console. In phase 2, now we start testing the gamers. Now it becomes fun. right? Now it becomes some really incredible challenges that our team have created, very daunting challenges, exhausting challenges. We're going to test them, put them through the gauntlet. We're going to, we're going to make them very uncomfortable. The gamers very uncomfortable in a very good way. And now you will be tested through the different genres. So you will have to play each type of game. And we will make those announcements as well in phase 2. From there, the top 100 players in the world will make the live world championship, where, by the way, we're going to give away $1 million to the winner. It's going to be great. Now, I do have to, just to be totally clear, we're living in the COVID-19 era, right, in age. So I don't know if a live event is going to happen this year, which it would be in November. We're shooting for it, but I think we're going to do kind of a hybrid, where we're working on a partnership with Airbnb, where the top 100 players would be spread out over 10 different mansions around the world, gaming from these mansions. So it'll be a great experience. Unfortunately, we might not have spectators, so it'll be hosted on our Twitch channels, YouTube channels, our website and stuff. It'll be easy to watch and produce at a very high level. But that's it, man. And listen, it's about celebrating gaming. I mean, there's only going to be one Ultimate Gamer, but it doesn't matter. You bring your friends together, and you have fun, and you're going to game anyway, right? Gamers are going to game all the time anyways. Why not join this community, test your skills, see where you rank in the world? It's free. You have nothing to lose. If you don't like it after week 1, then don't game anymore, right?
So that's going to be incredible. And there's already been a beta test was done last year, right, in 2019. You crowned a champion.
That's right.
But celebrating the community is such a big piece of this. So aside from that event itself, what else is going on in the Ultimate Gamer that so people can be involved year round, and through what other channels?
Absolutely. So we have several things. One of the things that we're really focused on is our LAN Center initiative, right? Like, we really want to, for me, I look at the LAN centers like the boxes in CrossFit, right? These are your communities within the community, right? All around the world. And these communities and these players that go to these LAN centers are very passionate about their LAN center, and they're proud of it, So we want to really give back to these LAN centers and make them a focus. And we're going to have competitions for the LAN centers leading up to the World Championships in different ways that people can compete outside of just the online challenge to make it to the World Championship. And that's part of our LAN Center initiative. Within our platform, we have the level up piece, which I think is very important. And it's a way for us to kind of give back to the community, where gamers can learn coding. Gamers can learn how to make money streaming. Gamers can learn coaching tips, curated content. We're going to have exclusive content out there, right? We have our Level Up podcast, which are going to bring together, and you've done an amazing job, Tommy, in bringing together industry leaders from around the world. I honestly feel like this podcast, with the reach that it has already and is going to continue having, is going to be the podcast where anybody in gaming is going to be, trying to get onto, and it's just, again, this podcast, and you've proven it with the ones that you've already done, is a celebration. And this podcast, that's what this is. It's people coming together, having a conversation, a really laid back conversation about stuff that they're passionate about. And you don't see that everywhere. So much stuff is canned and staged, and this is just gamers. Gamers are a unique community, a passionate community, and it comes through on all of your interviews when you're talking to these industry leaders. And I think this is going to be a go-to place for information, to learn, to laugh, to cry, right? And gamers are just gonna really relate to both you and your guests through this podcast. We're gonna constantly be doing. Look, we are at the end of the day a tech and media company. One of our main goals is to bring the online offline. So once things calm down in the world, we're gonna be doing events all over the world, satellite events, smaller events. We're going to be bringing Ultimate Gamer into the different communities where people can just play and celebrate and at the same time work your way into the competition. But we just really just everything we do is we're hyper focused on experience, on having a good time, on celebrating gaming. You're going to be able to gamble on our site soon. They will have a summer camp coming up that we're really excited about, the Level Up Summer Camp. So there's just so much. We're creating content. I mean, Tommy, the amount of content that's going to come out of the game. I was telling in an interview the other day that stars are going to be born through our platform. I really believe the next Ninja, the next Dr. Disrespect, all these guys, the next leaders in this community, the next celebrities in this community are going to be born through the Ultimate Gamer, right? So we are creating so much content. We're doing our Ultimate Gamer Spotlight series, which is our quote-unquote American Idol show, right? So we're encouraging everybody that registers is going to have a channel in which they could submit their stories. We want to hear these amazing stories from all around the world on how people are, their life. We want to hear about life, not just about gaming. We want to hear your stories and your struggles, your successes, right? What makes these gamers passionate, why they game, you know, what do they do on their off time when they're not gaming, right? Like, we really, really want to capture and connect with this community. And I think our Spotlight series is going to do a great job of capturing these cool stories. And I'm really excited to start seeing a lot of that stuff.
Dude, that behind the scenes, what you're talking about, that kind of story is what a lot of gaming has missed, right? Because again, it's such a younger community still. So it's missed that. There's not a lot of the 30 for 30 out there. There's not the Last Dance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But those people have similar experiences. You know, he's 16 years old. I bet you that's a fascinating story, like learning about that guy from when he was 12 or whatever.
Absolutely. And did his parents let him play? Did they fight him about playing? Like, was he just allowed to game, right?
Yeah.
So
one thing I got to tell you, make sure you keep the foam party away from any of the computers. If we
That's awesome. But listen, that Spotlight series is going to be awesome. The stories we're going to get. You know, we have a show that we're producing called In the Game. And prior to the COVID-19, we were on tour with Post Malone, right? Because gaming is fucking cool. Gaming is the coolest shit in the world, right? And everybody games. Every artist, football player, basketball player, comedian, they all game. We're all gamers. There's 3 billion of us. Yeah. In the world. There's not 3 billion of anything else in the world. There's 3 billion people in the world that say I'm a gamer, right? So gaming is the centerpiece, and there's so much art, music, a culture that surrounds gaming, and gaming is the heartbeat of all of that. And we want to bring that to light, right? And we want to show people that art, music, fashion, gaming, all of that is intertwined, whether you like it or not. Hip hop culture, house. I mean, Marshmello on Fortnite. Now you saw Travis Scott on Fortnite. Like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. Fashion. When you talk about what FaZe Clan is doing, and they just did a huge partnership with Network and my friend Aaron Levin and Jimmy Iovine and doing Network. I mean, it's insane what's happening, man. And I really believe that Ultimate Gamer is that platform for the next gamer, the next celebrity gamers to come out of, and stars will be born through Ultimate Gamer, and we're going to help and promote that and lift the gamer up and bring them, to the next level. And that's really level them up, right? And no pun intended.
Yeah. Dude, it's so awesome. Tell, how much fun are you having, man?
This is everything for me, man.
Isn't it awesome?
I love this shit, man. I wake up every day, and what we were talking about before, I used to wake up and this is so much fun. And the team that we have, the creative people, the passion that we all have for this project and for this community, I think it shows in what we put out already. I think it's going to continue to show, and I think the community is going to appreciate that. Like, for us, this is a passion. This is about celebrating gaming. This isn't a business for us. Like, we're having too much fun.
Yeah. Listen, I know we got to tie it up, but it was a question I wanted to ask you earlier, and I just forgot to ask you. But when you put together a team, right, when you've got a great idea and a concept, and you've got to now take that idea to make it real, one of the most important things you can do is put a really amazing team together. So how did you do that? Because you've done an amazing job from what I've seen, the people I've seen that are involved in this project. Do people just pop into your head? Do you say, we need this person, and it just comes? Or is it a difficult process? Because it's like putting a Super Bowl team together, right? Or an NBA championship team, or Absolutely. Listen,
it's probably what I'm most proud of so far, right? Is the team we've put together. I think a lot of it is dumb luck. A lot of it is just really grinding, man. I spent the last year since our proof of concept traveling. I mean, I spent so much time away from my family, just meeting. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere. And a lot of it, again, is luck. And a lot of the people that are here now have been with me since the beginning, right? Since the proof of concept since the proof of concept. Can you hear that when it starts ringing like that?
Just a little bit. Yeah, it's fine.
So a lot of the people on our team were with us through proof of concept. You, Tommy, I met you by accident, right? I met you, we were so lucky. You came in the last moment and you produced an incredible, part of our event, which was the educational piece, right? Henry, who's what we call our dog, our director of gaming, he owns a LAN center. And when we're saying, shit, we got to put this competition together, he has surpassed my expectations of him from day one. You know what I mean? And what he has created, I think, is going to really revolutionize the way competitions are seen and looked at in gaming. And he does, we have our CTO and CMO is Zach Massingham. I mean, there's fucking HBO specials on Zach Massingham. He topples fucking governments for a living. You know what I mean? And his messaging and his targeting, he keeps us kind of focused on what we're supposed to do and really what our goal is, which is celebrating this community. My COO, Junior Rojo, has been with me for 10 years. So he just knows the way I think and how impossible I am and how relentless I am in perfection and in really just passion and nonstop drive to succeed and to bring what we really have in mind to reality. Our head of content, Chip Quigley, is a living legend. I mean, are you kidding me? When do you have an opportunity to work with a guy that produces all of Conan O'Brien's shows, Victoria's Secret fashion shows, America's Next Top Model? I used to have a record label and produce some of the biggest bands in the world, from The Who to the Rolling Stones. His mind and his knowledge and his experience is invaluable. It truly is invaluable. And then we've built a team of creatives that are doing an incredible job and work nonstop, and we ride them hard. Our sales team and partnership team, guys from that were with Obama for 8 years as their right-hand guy are working with us. So it's like sometimes I sit back and I look and I'm like, how do we get this lucky? I've always been somebody that I've always thought when you build something, you got to get people that are a lot smarter than you, right? I could bring the passion. I'm going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but people that are just way smarter than you and know it better and have better connections. And I think we've been very successful in doing that. And I'm so proud of what we built thus far. And I just can't wait. Like, I get anxious and I don't sleep at night, not because of stress, because I don't get stressed out, but because I want the world to know that Ultimate Gamer exists. And this is a platform for the community, man. This is for them. This is for them. This is celebrate everything that is gaming, man. And I just can't wait for the world to be like, holy shit, Ultimate Gamer has arrived. And there's no reason why 3 billion people don't sign up to become, to be part of our community, because we don't want anything from you except for you to come join and have fun, game what you're going to do anyways, and celebrate it with a bunch of people that are game agnostic. It doesn't matter what you play. It doesn't matter if you're a PC player or console player. It doesn't matter if you play Fortnite or you play FIFA, right? Come and celebrate it with us. We're just going to have a great time,
Yeah, man. So, yeah, it's amazing. And sometimes it can't happen fast enough, but it's kind of like knowing that you're on that journey, man, and you've already made the first things happen. And now it's really, to me, it's really, really starting to get exciting right now.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah, man. I can see it in your face.
A little while ago, it was like a grind. And I told Junior one day, I think I was talking to Junior and Zach, and I was like, man, this is feeling like a fucking grind. It will grind. I don't like feeling like this. Like, I don't want to grind. And like, this is just a grind. And then we just went over a hump, and man, it's happening. And I'm just I can't tell you how excited I am for the world to know that this exists. I just want everybody to know. And this is our way of giving back to the community. So
it's awesome.
Do it and have fun.
All right, man. Thanks,
You're
Steve.
the best, Tommy. Thank you, bud. All right. I appreciate it, bud.
Thank
you so much.
All right.
I'd like to thank Steve for sharing his time, experience, and knowledge with us today. As a world traveler and doorman to the stars, He shared with us the inspiration and motivation behind his vision of creating a global esports community that is brought together by one-of-a-kind, unforgettable events and experiences. To hear some of his South Beach nightclub stories, listen again. Or you can find timestamped segments of the show, links to Steve's social pages, and more information about his company, projects, and media in the show notes. If you enjoyed our discussion, please let us know. Continue the conversation with me across all social platforms and become a part of the Ultimate Gamer community today by subscribing at ultimategamer.com. We release 2 shows a week on Tuesday and Thursday, so be the first to join us for some outstanding upcoming guests and or dive back into the library of previous Level Up pods to hear some of the most brilliant minds in the space. Experts like Regional Head of Marketing at Evos Esports, Alan Fang, founder of Heitner Legal, esports attorney Darren Heitner, and gaming media personality Gerard Hip Hop Gamer Williams, just to name a few. You can find all of these episodes and more on the Ultimate Gamer website, on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your pods. And finally, please like, rate, and review the show. It helps us reach the gaming community to spread the word and share the wisdom of our guests, as well as some of the most thought-provoking stories in the industry. Shout out, as always, to the Ultimate Gamer. I look forward to being with you on the next Level Up podcast.